All right, I have a question here.
Okay.
And maybe you can actually, this is good for you. So, with the increasing number of car manufacturers announcing EVs and the rapid increase in public EV charging infrastructure, do you still think it's a good investment to buy an ICE car in 2021? And this is great for you because you're in that exact decision tree right now.
So here's my biggest problem with the question is the term investment. Do I think it's a great investment right now? Probably not. Do I think everybody buying a car has the choice to make buying a car an investment decision or not? I don't think the majority of the people have that. The majority of the people buying cars are buying cars because it's something they need and it's something they need to be able to afford and it needs to fit into their lifestyle. So there's so many more things along there. If you have the luxury, maybe not luxury is the right term, but if you have the privilege of being able to buy a car as an investment, then I would probably go EV. I think even in general, they just seem to be cars that are most likely going to last way longer than gas-powered cars. So just in an investment opportunity, being able to keep it as long as possible means you're getting better value from your investment. Just that and right there is a better investment opportunity. But also resale value going forward. We're going to see more and more EVs. But that doesn't mean a good investment doesn't always meet a lifestyle choice.
Right. He added a follow-up to it also, which is a little more specific. He said, with the expansion of charging infrastructure and ubiquity of EVs in the next decade, will that cause gas prices to become too high to justify the lower cost of ICE vehicles today? So you're saying if you're going to own this car for the next decade, will gas prices go up so much over the next decade that the difference in cost would actually have been better if you just went with the higher priced EV today? And that's like kind of crystal ball, like looking into the future.
That's like someone who's like mastered economics and stuff like that. We are not those people. I can't imagine gas going up that in a decade. A decade is not that long.
A decade's not that long. We do see a lot of really big promises from a lot of these companies as far as building EVs and that infrastructure in the next 1 to 2 decades, which is promising. But just my quick answer to this, I don't think a decade is fast enough to say that you should go EV now just for that one economic reason. But that's something to keep an eye on because that inflection point will hit eventually where it's like it no longer makes sense to buy a gas car.
Yeah, that will hit eventually. A couple things in there. One, the price difference between a gas car and an EV right now it's a really big. I mean, you can get a really nice like mid-sized sedan for 20 grand. The cheapest EV you can get right now is 40, right? Model
the
3.
cheapest reasonable EV.
Okay, that has a decent range. I'll just call it the Model 3. I think is the cheapest one I would consider, and that's 40 grand. That's double the price of a gas car, similar size to it. I cannot imagine where you would make up $20,000 in gas prices over 10 years. What was the other thing? Oh, and then the other thing is we're seeing percentage-wise massive increase in infrastructure and stuff like that, but we're seeing it because the infrastructure is so small, it's getting bigger. That percentage increase is obviously going to ramp down as more things happen. So it's still probably well over a decade away from being able to have as many charging stations as gas stations as we have in the US. There's a lot more to that. A decade, I think, is too short. If cars lasted for 50 years, then buying an EV now would probably definitely save you the money over if a gas car lasted for 50 years.
There's a bunch of dials that you can spin to make the choice more obvious, like if cars lasted 50 years or if like gas prices are going to shoot up. Fully agree. Maybe we'll come back to this question probably in a couple of years.
And personally, right now, I will be buying a gas car. I just for the place I'm in with having a house and trying to start a family and everything, just like a car for ones that I were looking at would probably I'd be paying at least twice as much per month for what I'm looking at. I'm looking at like a Forester right now, so 25 to 30 grand. It jacks up a lot. It becomes way more expensive. And for me in my lifestyle right now, it just seems like what I'd rather be spending money on is some other things than an EV. As much as I want one, trust me, I cannot wait to finally make that. Till I'm in a spot where I can do that.
All right, maybe I have a good question to close it on.
Sure.
Because this is what we usually close the year on, which is the blind smartphone camera test.
Oh, We're not going to smartphone awards. We're going into blind test.
one of the last things we closed the year on. So we're almost at having everything we want to use.
Yeah, I know, but the thing we want to use the most is next week.
Right. We'll have Pixel soon, right? We'll probably have one or two other phones come out, but soon. Mm-hmm. So this question from Kartik is, now that the iPhone 13 has color profiles, we have those picture profiles. Mm-hmm. Will the camera bracket have to be by default or tweaked? Wouldn't ask if it was just a filter, but the whole baked-in processing thing is very important. So I actually was thinking like, we're doing another blind smartphone camera test. Should we make a little twist?
We've thought a couple times of like separate brackets for specific things.
Yeah, we've thought of
this year.
Basically, there's different ways to do this bracket. We've done it the same way every time, which is just huge list of a bunch of phones, mix them all up, point and shoot auto. And yeah, separate brackets is one way we've discussed, like maybe making it a little more interesting. Another would be potentially fooling people and putting the iPhone with different color profiles against itself or against other phones. Like there's 6 profiles now. Mm-hmm. And is that something we may do? Or probably not. But I do think it is an interesting question that like the amount that someone prefers a photo could dramatically change based on which profile you use.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I think ultimately the whole basis of the blind smartphone challenge is that we wanted to do a giant bracket based on like if someone just bought a brand new phone and we're taking pictures of it, as simple as possible. That's what's going head to head. Now, in terms of different brackets, not necessarily changing brackets up, but adding additional brackets where we can start looking at portrait mode or night mode or profile or selfies and stuff like that. So that sounds fun. We've almost doubled our team size since the last one, so maybe we could do something like that. Or maybe even do it on the studio channel or something. But I still think ultimately the main bracket will be pretty simple. This is how 80% of people take pictures.
We want to remove as many variables as possible for something like this.
Which is impossible, which we know from the comments every single year, and the massive headache I get from bashing my head against the wall from people telling me how to do it.
As many as we reasonably can.
Yeah.
Which we'll try.
We go. I do like the idea of some other ones. Okay, so I thought this question was going to go any guesses. So let's just do it anyways.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be winner. I have one guess.
What's your guess?
An Asus Zenfone will just do better than people expect. That just seems to be a constant.
That is a very good guess.
And I'm like kind of mad because the last 2 years we've guessed, I don't think people were on that train, and in my predictions bracket I've gotten really good points because I always put the Zenfone
will go pretty deep.
It did really well.
Yeah, I will predict that. I'm thinking of the phones we'll have. I'm going to predict Pixel wins it all.
Pixel wins it all. That's a brave pick for not seeing it yet. You've got a lot of hope. You called yourself a pessimist before. That's a very optimistic viewpoint. Look at you, Mr.
I'm thinking
Neutral.
about the other phones that have come out this year and how good the cameras have been. I've shot a lot with the OnePlus and the S21 Ultra, and obviously the iPhone. And that's my dark horse is the Pixel.
Has Sony ever made it out of the first round?
I don't think so.
And now this is not a huge knock against Sony phones. They have a lot of great features, but generally it's a very dull profile based on their auto. I'm going to guess, let's see, Sony makes it out of first round this year.
iPhone has also never made it out of first round, by the way.
Okay, so that's really not dissing Sony phone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably a less...
Man, I'm sure people are so pumped that it's never made it out of the first round.
Lower odds, but I'll also predict one iPhone.
I do still want to, I want to find a better way to start the bracket off. Because the way we decide how it goes is kind of random, but also trying to make sure that no heavy hitters are going against each other right off the bat, so it's fair. But I think there's a better way of doing it. If anyone has any suggestions, I almost want to seed them.
It's kind of what we've been doing, but yeah.
All
right.
Or do we? Yeah, I don't think we can go full random, because if Pixel iPhone starts,
then that's rough.
Yeah. Thanks for watching that clip. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, I guess you just don't care about the massive tech information that is just going to blow into your sub box next week.
We're going to blow the doors off your sub box.
Yeah. It's
in a good way.
YouTube's gonna go down with all the content we're releasing.
Whoa. We don't want it to go down.
Oh.
But we want it to be right at the verge of going down because of how much traffic there is.
But if they don't hit subscribe, it will go down.
Yes.
So hit subscribe.
In order to save YouTube.
Save us, please.
It's just one red button. It's easy.
Thanks. And the thumbs up one too. And a comment.